Shabbat Shalom. Matthew chapter 14. This is the count where Yeshua is walking on the sea. Verse 27 and 31 I want to highlight, but I'll read it and give us context. In chapter 14, verse 22, says, immediately Yeshua made his disciples get into the ship and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there. But the ship was now in the heart of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was angry. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went to them walking upon the face of the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit in a vision. And they cried out for being in awe. Verse 27, but Yeshua hastened to speak unto them, saying, be courageous. I am he, or it is I. You will not fear. Okay? Courageous is the word that I want to highlight, but let me go to Matthew 14:31. And Peter answered him and said, Master, if it is you, command me to come to you upon the face of the water. So he said, come. And when Peter had come down out of the ship, he walked upon the face of the water to go to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous or angry, he began to fear, and he began to go down, sinking. And he cried out, saying, Master, save, please. Right? And immediately Yeshua stretched forth his hand against him and said to him, and caught him, right? And said to him, little faith. Let me read it in the straight Hebrew, right? This verse 31. And Yeshua hastened, and he stretched forth his hand, and he held against him. And he said unto him, little faith, as an appellation to him, right? Why is this you have skipped upon two trends of thought? Okay, we'll start here and then go back, because we want to talk about courage. But this is an extra gold nugget. So Peter walked out on the word of Yeshua, because Yeshua said, look, I am he. Have courage. Be courageous, right? We'll get back to that. So he said, if it is you, can I walk upon the face of the sea also? He said, yeah, come. So based upon the word of Yeshua, Peter obeyed, and he began to walk upon the face of the sea. But then he took his eyes off Yeshua, because the winds were contrary. They were like angry and boisterous, right? So he began to sink into the water. We know that we cannot walk on water. Yes? Peter was walking upon the face of the sea. He was walking on water. So as he began to divert from Yeshua to his surroundings, his confidence in the word of Yeshua began to wane, and he, parallel to his confidence waning, he began to go down. We know that if you try to step up on the face of the sea, we're going to immediately go down. There's no slow going. So Peter was going slowly down because this is what I love. The Hebrew word is, Yeshua hit it. He said, after he caught him, he said, little faith. He called him little faith. Like in Indians, they say, spirit wind. It was an appellation to him, little faith. Why is it that you have skipped? The word skipped, this is the Hebrew, is pasach. Pasach. Passover, right? Passover, to skip over something, right? He says, so why have you skipped upon two trends of thought? The Hebrew is al sheti seafim. The Hebrew word is saaf, samek ayin pei, which means to branch out or extend, branching. You know what I mean? Like you're taking another branch. Stay on this one, right? Don't go beyond. Don't extend farther than where you should be. So he says, why have you skipped upon two trends of thought? What were those two trends, two branches? The angry winds or Yeshua? So he began giving into the angry, boisterous, contrary winds from what he started out on, right? Which was looking at Yeshua and stepping out on the word of Yeshua, come. You follow? The circumstances hadn't changed. His focus changed. And then he began to focus on the contrary, angry, boisterous winds than on Yeshua. We got that? Now, the word, when they thought that Yeshua was a spirit in a vision, and they were in awe of it, right? Peter said, whoa. So they were excited at seeing Yeshua in this dark, boisterous, angry, contrary wind setup, right? Saw Yeshua excited, and in his zeal, bid me to come out to you. Come, right? But before that, Yeshua said, be courageous, have courage, right? It is I. Now, the word courage, in Hebrew, there's two words, and these two words are, the majority of the time that they're written in the scripture, they are together. But in this verse, it's just one of them. I'll tell you the other ones. We'll see them in two other books in the New Covenant. And it's also in the First Covenant, Yehoshua, chapter 1, verse 6 and 7. But right here, Yeshua said in verse 27, be courageous. The word courageous is chazak. Chazak. Chet, Zayin, Kof. Chet, Zayin, Kof. It's an imperative, so it's suffixed with a surek. Okay? And it means to hold strongly, strengthen, be strong and firm, and to grasp. Right? That's the word for courageous in the Hebrew, one of the words. Right? Now, the English word courageous comes from originally the Latin word cor, C-O-R, right? Which means, check this out, which means heart. What? Did you know that? Mon cœur, French, Latin, cor, heart, right? Hebrew word for heart is lavav, which means seat of emotions, center of thought, conjoin a central core, right? Seat of emotions, center of thought, right? Heart. So he said, so courage starts within the heart, the central core of who you are, which is the seat, the center of your thoughts. Yeshua said, why is it that you have skipped upon two trends of thought? Courage. Be courageous. Strengthen yourself. Be strong and firm. Hold strongly. Right? Now in Romans chapter 12, verse 12, he says, This one, the context is Paul exhorting the Hebrews, the Israelites in Rome. He says, don't conform to this world system, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? So that you can prove what is the being purposeful and acceptable in the perfect will of powers. He wants you to be being purposeful. When you're being purposeful, you are an advanced benefit to man, right? So, and he says, serve Yahweh with the gifts that you've been given. And then from verse 9, behave like a messianic. Behave like a believer who has the anointing, right? And so, and then he says from verse 10, well, let me just start at verse 9. Let love be without deception. The word hypocrisy, I'm sorry, this is just, it's rich, right? The word hypocrisy is a transliterated word, the word hypocrisy. It's not a translation. Our English word hypocrisy comes from the Greek word hypokritos. So the English word hypocrisy is just a transliteration. It is not the translation. The translation for hypokritos, the Greek word hypokritos, is the mask of an actor in a stage play. That's what hypocrisy means, right? The mask of an actor in a stage play, okay? So this is a replacement word, a mistranslation in verse 9, because the Hebrew is chanaf, chet nun pe, which means to deceive, a deceiver, right? Yeah, to deceive, deceiving expectations, right? Deceive, chanaf. So he says, let love be without deception. Abhor what is dysfunctional, evil, what is dysfunctional, what is breaking, what will break things and bring about dysfunction. Because everything should be functioning according to purpose and design. Verse 10, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love. Devoting completely to each other, right? To see them built up and operating also in purpose. In honor, giving preference to one another. Yeah? Not lagging in diligence, discipline, right? And be zealous in spirit, serving the master. Verse 12. The translation says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. The Hebrew says, rejoice in hope, concentrate power, and enable yourself in the pressure, right? This says be patient in tribulation. No, the Hebrew says chayil, in the pressure. Chayil is concentrate your power and be enabled in the pressure, right? Sarah, pressure. That's what they translate as tribulation. You're being squeezed, you're being pressured, right? So Paul is exhorting for you to concentrate your power and be enabled in the pressure, right? To endure it. And then he says, be courageous and strong, and in prayer continually. Right? So it is chazak ve'amatz in Romans 12:12, right? Amatz, aleph, mem, final sade, right? Which means to strengthen and secure, be strong and firm, be obstinate, be a force. So chazak ve'amatz, right? The word for courage, which has to do with and begins in the heart, the center of your thoughts, the seat of emotions, right? Okay? So be courageous and be obstinate. And be strong and firm. And in prayer always. And in prayer continuing. and continue in prayer. We got it? And then verse 13, distributing to the needs of the prepared ones, the selfless, devoted to meeting needs, and pursuing hospitality, pursuing assisting and helping others. Amen. So now, last one in Hebrews 12:12. Go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 12. It's on the heels of the chastening or the disciplining of Yahweh for those who are his sons, right? You know, remember Paul says, although you have many teachers, you don't have many fathers, right? Because a father, and those of you who have children, you know you will discipline your children because you want the best for them, and you will do it immediately. And you will also forgive their stumblings or their mistakes because they are learning, they are growing. That's the difference between a father and just a teacher, right? But a father is a teacher. You see, so it's on the heels in chapter 12 of a father loving his son, how he disciplines him early or quickly or immediately. Okay, so verse 12 says, therefore, the translation says, therefore strengthen the hands which hang down and the feeble knees. The Hebrew says, upon so, chazok, right? Strengthen loose or weakened hands. Strengthen loose or weakened hands, right? And stumbling knees, secure the stumbling knees, and make straight paths for your feet, verse 13, so that what is lame may not be, but rather be healed. And pursue peace with all people with preparedness, with being prepared to meet needs without which no one will see the master, right? That's verse 14. Now, the context is, you know, why would he say hands that need to be strengthened? Because the Hebrew word is rapha, which is to loose or to weaken. So strengthen your hands. Why? Because the hand in Israelite culture and Hebrew thought is to carry out mighty deeds. We're to carry out mighty deeds. And our knees, barak, you know, the word bless is the word for knee. What happens when you bless? You bow and you give a gift, right? So he's using the word, both words, chazak and amat, that has to do with being strong and firm, being courageous in this context of your hands, which carry out mighty deeds, and your knees, which bow to present gifts to meet needs. You see? So be strong and courageous in carrying out that which Yahweh purposed you for, right? That's why in verse 14 it says, pursue shalom, pursue harmony with all, and being prepared for tasks without which no one will see the master. Okay? So now let's go back to the first covenant in closing in Joshua chapter 1, verse 6, which is the context of Yehoshua taking over from Moses, to complete the task that was given to him that he failed to deliver on. The mantle has been transferred to Yehoshua. And so he's being encouraged by Moshe in verse 6. But I'll start in verse 5. He tells him, he says, look, Yehoshua, no man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, Yahweh says, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for to this people you will divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give to them. Verse 7, only be strong, chazok we amatz. Be strong and courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the instructions which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Right? That's what Yeshua was saying to Peter. He said, look, Why would you skip upon two trends of thought instead of just focusing on me and doing what I say? Yeah? He says, do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left from the Torah. Peter turned away from Yeshua. To the right was boisterous, angry, contrary winds. And to the left was boisterous, angry, contrary winds. And he took his focus off of Yeshua. And he lost courage because he skipped on two trends of thought. Courage has to do with the heart. The heart is the seat of thoughts. And so we see something here. Courage is what's lacking today. The context of the courage in the first covenant was, and in the second covenant was, look, under pressure from being obedient to me, tribulation, be courageous. Have courage. Be strong. Be obstinate in the choice of obeying me. You understand? If I said come, come. If I say do this, do that. So he's telling Yehoshua, Chazok ve'amatz, that you may be strong and courageous, be forceful in your choice to obey, that you may observe to do according to all the instructions and teachings which Moses my servant commanded you. Don't turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be circumspect and prosper wherever you go. So Yeshua modeled for us what we're to do to one another, to the brethren, right? And when we embark on it, we should not skip upon two trends of thought, but have courage, strengthen our heart, be strong and firm, and grasp hold to that word that Yeshua has given to us, and he's given us a lie. He says, no weapon formed against you. The enemy I have put under your feet, right? You can tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means harm you. Yeshua said, I give you the keys to the kingdom, and the gates of Sheol, hell, cannot be victorious over it. So, Yahweh reigns, huh? So we need courage. We need courage. We need it to be modeled so other people can see and gain confidence to do the same, because it's lacking in our time. Right? This season of corona virus, people are fearing, and even the church is fearing, and people are wearing masks, and it's a tool of Satan to divide us and to not trust one another, and everybody's looking out for number one, and even in certain places the church has fallen prey to this lie. Corona has to do with the aura or the radiating rays of the sun surrounding the light of the sun. Huh? You can see it when there's an eclipse. Corona, the radiating rays out from it. Yeah, and also you see in ancient pictures of saints with this aura around the head of the saints. Huh? That's corona. You see the sun, you see the surrounding, that's corona. It's radiation. Yeah? So how can that be an organism? Bacteria, virus. How can it be an organism? It's not, is it? But they say coronavirus, when corona is radiation. So it's no coincidence that this whole corona pandemic is parallel to the 5G introduction to connectivity and internet speed, which we've been enculturated with. And now it's kind of like a need. You have to have a cell phone. 3G, 4G, now 5G. We can make it quicker. Connectivity can be, at the speed of moment. And with all this, this new generation of children are stuck on gaming. So they need speed. We've been indoctrinated, enculturated with it. And so now it's like we become vexatious with it. And so, of course, 5G. But 5G functions at 60 gigahertz. That's radiation. A microwave oven heats up water, operates from 2.4 hertz. And what does it do? It oscillates water, the atom in the water, and causes it to boil. Microwave. So 60 gigahertz of radiation, what do you think that's going to do to the surrounding environment and the biology of human makeup? I'm not going to get into that. That's not my expertise, but it's not a coincidence that coronavirus, pandemic, and 5G push is parallel. That's all. And let me say something else. Corona, that has to do with the sun, yes? The origin of that term comes from the sun. Sun worship has been around ever since. Egypt is Ra, Medo-Persia is Mithraism, Greece it's Helios, Greek is Helios, heliocentric, sun-centered, right? The earth goes around the sun. And then now sun, Sunday. We worship on the venerable day of the sun. Sun worship has been there from the beginning. Could this be sacrificial offering to those who worship the sun, offering up souls to him so they can stay in power to continue to, I don't know, I'm just talking. I'm just something to think about. You follow? Coronavirus. So we who are the light of the world, we need to not skip over trends of thought. We don't need to branch away from what Yeshua and what the instructions and teachings have laid out for us. If you abide in my word, then you are my disciples indeed, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you, make you, keep you free. So it doesn't matter what the world has brought upon itself because of its turning its back on the word of truth. We stay the course and don't look to the right or to the left, and we can be the light to those who are in darkness, who want to escape the consequences of being in darkness, and provide an alternative way of living, and peace, and provision, and confidence, and security, and purpose. So let's be courageous. Let's have courage and do what we know Yeshua commanded us to do. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Praise Yahweh. Todah.